Right now, right now. 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 Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We've got to add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been getting bigger. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your weekdaily morning show where we bring you the latest in everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about the small rally that Bitcoin has been witnessing over the last 24 hours and why it's happening. Today, we're going to be looking at whether or not this could be the beginning of something new or if Bitcoin is actually just having a fake out, which I think is the more likely of the scenarios. But some very important bullish factors have flipped, well, bullish over the last day, and today we're going to be looking at those to see whether or not Bitcoin is actually primed and ready for a new uptrend. We're going to be looking at its next levels of resistance and why I am still very skeptical as to whether or not Bitcoin is going to be able to rally from here. Really appreciate you guys. Really appreciate you guys for being here, and I want to ask you one question before we get started. I like to start on a note like this. What do you do on the hard days? Like, be honest with yourself. What do you do when you wake up and you're just not feeling it? Listen, for most of my life, when I woke up and I wasn't feeling it, or even if I was, I would just kind of sit around and not do a whole lot. Till the last few years when I got some motivation called Sarah, my wife, and my kids, I would just kind of, if I wasn't feeling it, I just wouldn't do it. And I would watch my life go by, and I would wonder, why wasn't I achieving more? Why weren't things growing the way that I would like them to be? Why am I not feeling comfortable in my own skin? And what I've come to realize, and what I want to share with you, is that you don't win on the easy days. It's easy to go to the gym on the easy days. It's easy to go to work and be a stellar performer on the easy days. It's easy to go on a ride. It's easy to invest when you've got a lot of money. It's easy when it's easy. But when it's hard is when it's hard, and that's when you've actually got to push through it. And so while that may seem like common sense, it's something that we don't really think about very often. What do we do when it gets hard? I'm not that interested in what you do when it's easy. Anybody can perform when you've got everything going for you. Why do you think we love a good underdog story? It's easy to become a billionaire if you're one of Sam Walton's children. It's easy to become a billionaire if your last name has Trump or Kennedy or Clinton in it. That's easy. What's hard is when you've got some no-name from Detroit or Bronx or the middle of nowhere, and they say, I'm going to change my financial future no matter what it takes. I am going to exert my will on the rest of my life, and this is going to look different in 5 or 10 years than it is now. And it's not because I'm going to perform on the easy days, because for most people around this world, there are no such thing. So what do you do on the easy days? That's the easy question. But the better question is, what do we do on the hard days? What do we do when we don't feel like getting up out of bed? What do we do when we don't feel like hitting the gym? What do we do when we don't feel like getting up early? What do we do when we don't feel like working on our budget this month? What do we do when we don't feel like investing in anything that we believe in this month because we'd rather spend it on a vacation or a car or a watch or dinner? What do we do? What do we do when it's hard? Do we stay disciplined or do we tap out? That's the real question. That's the question I ask myself all the time. And I want you to ask yourself the same question. What do you do when things get hard? Let's read some chat. I'm very excited for y'all to be here today. We are going to be doing a lot of technical analysis today, talking about what we have learned over the last 24 hours as we made a call that Bitcoin was probably going to drop, and it didn't. As I've told you guys, whenever we make a call, whether it's correct or wrong, we're going to analyze and we're going to try and see what went wrong. Was it just up to chance and we did everything we could and the market just didn't do what we said, or did we miss something? We're going to do our best to learn and see what may happen next. Let's read a little bit of chat and then we'll dive right on into it. Jack Walker's in chat coming in first. Welcome to the stream. Really appreciate you guys for being here. Christina Orozco is in chat. Mike Lowry, Chasse, RJ, Kevin Hawthorne. I have the Beholder. Michael Lowry, Pew Pew Poom 2 said, hey, Jeb, you better open a window because I'm about to get smug up in here. Joel Elbs is in chat. Ron Hart's in chat. Conrad Denif, good morning. Alex Nibo as well. Miguel Buggin King said, why are you yelling at me? Oh, I'm not yelling at you. You haven't seen yelling. Pew Pew Poom 2, at least not from me. Maybe you have in your life, but not from me. Pew Pew Poom 2 is here in chat as well. Let's get started. Bitcoin is trading at $57,678, up 3.1% over the last 24 hours. Over the last 7 days, we were up exactly 1%. And yesterday, we made a call. Again, I'm going to keep it real. This is one of the reasons I want you to go below this video right now. Continue listening to the sound of my voice, but go below this video right now and hit the subscribe button. You know why? Because I'm going to keep it real with you. Because I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have a vested interest. I don't have some, any kind of thing trying to tell me what to do. I'm a free agent. I can say exactly what I want here on YouTube. And if that gets me in trouble, oh well. I have a good heart. I know I'm going to take the best care of you that I can. If you don't like it, that's all right. I love you. I'll see you next time. But here's the thing. I'm going to be radically honest with you guys, whether it makes me look good, bad, ugly. If I don't got the stuff, I'm not going to try and hide that. I'm going to go work on it because I believe in being honest, right? Whatsoever we do, we should do it in truth. And so over the last couple of weeks, we've made a lot of good calls. Yesterday, we made a call right about here, literally right here, that we were going to see a correction on Bitcoin down to $54,000. Let's run back our reasoning on that, and then we'll talk about why did it not happen? Why are we wrong? We were wrong. I can admit that. I'm man enough to admit that. Can you admit when you're wrong? It's a sign of maturity. We were wrong. Why are we wrong? Well, we looked at the analysis. We said the MACD is extremely bearish. RSI is very bearish. On the daily chart, we've also got RSI dipping down here. We've got weekly chart RSI giving us some longer-term protracted bearishness. On the hourly chart, we've got a head and shoulders pattern forming here that would give us a price target. If we drew our shoulder line right here, the price target would drop us down right about down to there, $54,000. Bitcoin was in a primary downtrend, and there were no signs anywhere in the market that we should be going into a rally until right around the time we got off the stream yesterday. Why were we wrong yesterday? Did I miss something in the analysis? Did I miss something in the news? Not to my knowledge. You can tell me if I'm wrong. I'm willing to hear it. I'm just telling you honestly from my perspective. I don't see what I missed. The only thing that maybe I should have pointed out was that MACD was generally moving in the direction of converging bullish. We probably did miss that, and we probably should have mentioned that. So that is good news, right? That's very good news that Bitcoin could be going into an uptrend. Now, because there's that buy signal, or excuse me, that bullish cross coming in from MACD. We don't yet have what we want to see from LUX ALGO. We're still very much bearish on LUX ALGO. On the 4-hourly chart, we are bullish, of course. We almost flipped bearish yesterday, but we didn't end up doing it. So what did we miss? Like I said, the only thing that I can see that I may have missed was MACD crossing bullish, and that was good, so we'll make sure we keep a good eye on that. But what we didn't miss, because it hadn't happened yet, was the UK Parliament introduced a bill to recognize Bitcoin and crypto as personal property. This story broke approximately 21 hours ago, which was approximately noon time on the Eastern Seaboard. If you will notice, it was approximately noon yesterday, Eastern Standard Time, that Bitcoin really started to rally right in these three candlesticks. It was in these three candlesticks that this story broke. The technicals were screaming bearishness, and the reason that the market turned around was because of news that we could not predict. Here's the reason that I tell you guys all the time. Here's the reason that I tell you guys all the time. Here's the reason I tell you guys all the time that we have to understand that technical analysis is not a 100% foolproof science. It's not going to be accurate every time. You know why? Because in between you making a call and when the call should have happened, things change. Just imagine if you said, okay, the moon's going to rise at 7:43 p.m. tomorrow, and then between now and 7:43 p.m. tomorrow, the laws of physics changed. How the heck are you supposed to be certain of anything? In that situation, you can't. Also, the universe would fall apart, but you get my point. You can't accurately predict anything with 100% accuracy, but what you can do, and don't take me out of context here, what you can do is you can get as close as possible to understanding where you're going to go with the information available. And in fact, the market is very predictable if you take all current information into account and nothing changes. But the reason that we look at this every single day is because We need to know what the current state of the market is, and we need to be keeping up with the market to know if something changes. And what happened yesterday is at the time of the stream right here, we knew the current state of the market. Maybe we missed one thing, like the MACD was about to cross bullish. Yeah, we could have seen that. Hands up. Yeah, I should have seen that. Absolutely. You know, we're being real here. That's the only way we're going to grow. It's the only way I'm going to grow. I've done this for 7 years, guys. I am an expert with this chart. I know this chart better than anything else on the internet, and I get it wrong sometimes. So do you. But what we've got to understand is that when we make a mistake, let's try not to make it twice, lest we be fools. Okay, what we also need to keep in mind is that things change, and we need to keep an eye on the news. We need to keep our ear to the ground in case something changes so that we can be ready to adjust our predictions. And this news broke almost immediately after I got off stream yesterday. And let's read a little bit about it because it is very important, and the market obviously understands that it is very important. UK Parliament introduces bill to recognize Bitcoin and cryptocurrency as personal property. The new legislation aims to provide legal clarity and protection for Bitcoin and digital asset owners, and to the best of my ability to analyze the market, that is exactly what we are seeing. This has caused the spike on Bitcoin. You can see Bitcoin Magazine posted on this at 12:40 p.m. September 11th, which was yesterday. And at September 11th, yesterday, the market was approximately at 12:40, the market was approximately right here. So we were leading up into the news. It broke a little bit earlier than that. I don't think Bitcoin Magazine was the one that broke this story. So it came out about 11 or 12 yesterday. The UK Parliament has introduced the Property, Digital Assets, etc. bill today to officially and legally recognize Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and other digital assets as personal property. With this new legislation, for the first time, British law would officially protect digital holdings such as Bitcoins and other cryptocurrencies, non-fungible tokens, and carbon credits. It's essential that the law keeps pace with evolving technology, and this legislation will mean that the sector can maintain its position as a global leader in crypto assets and bring clarity to complex property cases, said Justice Minister Heidi Alexander. Our world-leading legal services form a vital part of our economy, helping to drive forward growth and keep Britain at the heart of the international legal industry. This bill aims to address a long-standing legal gap where digital assets were previously excluded from English and Welsh property law. As a result, owners of digital assets had little recourse if their holdings were interfered with, leaving them in a legal gray area. So, legal protection for your cryptocurrencies may be coming soon to a United Kingdom near you. Now, obviously, this has not been passed yet, but it is a big story, and it is a big deal for adoption. And it is something that we are naturally very excited about, and it makes sense that the market would pump on this. And so this is why, as I said, we've got to keep our ear to the ground because things change. And when a news story like this breaks, of course, we're going to say, oh, hang on a second. Part of the reason that we've been saying Bitcoin was going to drop down to $54,000 was because there was no bullish catalyst. Cue bullish catalyst. And so when the bullish catalyst comes in, we say, oh, wait a second, that's great news. Okay, and then we can start readjusting our stance. How foolish would it be for us to keep the same stance in light of new evidence? That's not scientific. My first passion was science. I love logical debate. I love facts, evidence, chasing the data. I've done that in every area of my life. And whatever I believe, I either believe it because the Word of God says it, or I believe it because there's facts and data, which there are in the Word of God as well, because there's facts and data about it. I don't make decisions about what I believe to the best of my ability based on emotions. We make it based on facts and data. And what I have seen is that when we do that, we end up with the best possible outcomes. And so the data says that when we have a big bullish catalyst and the market was bearish because of a lack of a bullish catalyst, then that's where we get to see an uptrend. So those are the things that we can learn. Jeb, make sure you pay attention to the MACD on the daily chart. Also, let's watch the news because that news story broke a couple of hours later, and we want to make sure that we are aware when that happens so that we can see if a reversal is coming. Now, with this new perspective that we have, with this bill being presented, what does this mean for Bitcoin? Well, it managed to push Bitcoin just over the edge into a bullish MACD cross on the daily chart, and it also has managed to push RSI to a local high here up at 48. We are a good deal more bullish today than we were yesterday. But here's why I'm still skeptical. Oh, and I should also mention this. We did also have a green candlestick formation that came in because of this news. But again, here's why I'm still skeptical. This story is big. But one, it's a bill that has to go through the House of Commons and the House of Lords. It's not law yet. It has been introduced to Parliament. It has not been made into law yet. Number 2, it also is not going to be something people are talking about in 3 days. It's going to be forgotten about very soon. This is not a continuing news story like the war in Ukraine, the war in Israel, or the election. This is a kind of flash in the pan. Hey, this happened. Okay, cool. 2 days later, people forgot about it. And so the bullish impact that this has had, the only real impact it's going to have in the longer term on the market is the fact that it switched some of these technicals bullish. And that is going to be very important. MACD being bullish, RSI being up here in bullish territory, even our very own crypto Jeb oscillator almost getting into bullish territory, giving us one of our final oscillator confirmations that we need. Those are all great things. But the overall larger perspective on the market that we are seeing, the United States stock market, for example, sitting here below all-time high, has not broken out just yet. It's hard for Bitcoin to rally unless it is an all-time high, although it can, and it is a good sign that stock market's rallying. Nvidia is doing well. You know, somebody in chat, I think Pew Pew, is that Pew Pew Poom 2 saying that? Yeah, that's it. Pew Pew Poom 2 talking about Nvidia. Obviously, Nvidia's been rallying. Yes, for sure. Bitcoin is closely following Nvidia stock. And Bitcoin is also very closely following the United States S&P 500. The S&P 500 and Nvidia are tracking closely together, partially because Nvidia is now one of the largest companies on planet Earth. So, of course, Nvidia and the United States stock market are tracking close together. But here's my point. I'm getting into a little bit of a tangent here. What I'm saying is that Bitcoin's got to see a lot of things change, not just this news come in. I want to see the S&P 500 breaking all-time high. I want to see the dollar currency index trading sideways, which it is. And these are all good signs. These are all good signs. Some things... so maybe let's frame it this way. This might be easier to understand if I frame it this way. Let's go one at a time. Over the last 24 hours, over the last 7 days, this news story is broken, and that has flipped bullish. Absolutely. That's a good sign. That's number 1. Number 2, the dollar currency index over the last 24 hours has actually dropped and moved bearish. Number 2, that is very good. Number 3, let's make a bullish case here. Number 3, S&P 500 has rallied for the last 4 consecutive trading days. Also a very good sign, which is definitely going to help with Bitcoin. As Pew Pew Poom 2 said in chat, Nvidia has also had a very good performance over the last 4 days. That's number 4. And then, of course, number 5 and 6 would be the fact that here on the MACD and RSI starting with, we do have Bitcoin above this line here, the 14 interval moving average, and it is moving to the upside, which is bullish. That's number 5. Number 6, we do have a bullish cross right here, which is also great news. This seems to have been the straw that broke the camel's back. This seems to be that one tiny little third grader that got on the back of the other side of the seesaw and started to move things on to the other direction. But here's the thing. It's a very narrow lead that the bulls have. I just gave you 6 or 7 reasons that the bulls may be leading. Here's a couple reasons why they may not end up making this movement, taking this movement on an actual run, and we'll discuss them further. Number 1, we have not seen or even come close to seeing a bullish buy signal. A buy signal from LUX Algo in months. We're still very far below the trend catcher. We would need to break above this downtrending level of resistance to even start considering a buy signal coming in. Number 2, out on the weekly chart, we are still in a massive downtrend on RSI, and we're going to need to break above that before Bitcoin can see any kind of considerable or sustained uptrend. Number 3, we are in a prolonged corrective movement that has been parabolically increasing its momentum over the last 6 months. Number 4, we've got to break above this downtrending level of resistance, or this is all just a corrective market before we break to the downside. If you remember yesterday, we actually made 2 calls, one call and then a part B. The first call was that Bitcoin would fall down to $54,000. That was invalidated because of this news coming out, and we can correlate the time that this news broke with the time that Bitcoin went into a rally. On the other hand, our second prediction was maybe something happens and we end up rallying up to this downtrending level of resistance, and then we fall to the downside, which is what we may be doing at this point in time. At the end of the day, things are flipping bullish for Bitcoin, but we have to ask ourselves one question. Are the bulls going to be able to do anything with this narrow lead that they seem to be eking out? And as I said in this title, I am still skeptical. Why? Because this has happened multiple times before. We saw an Ethereum ETF launch. Didn't perform well. Bitcoin crashes. We saw the halving happen. Bitcoin crashes. We saw Bitcoin hit a new all-time high. Bitcoin crashes. See, the reason that I'm skeptical of any rally right now, and why I believe that is the healthy perspective to take is because Bitcoin has a verifiable trend. If someone lies to me, I might say to myself, okay, they weren't acting right. They made a mistake. That's not who they are. They lie to me again. Then I start to say, well, they lied to me twice now. What am I supposed to believe them? They lied to me a third time? Like, okay, all right, I get it. You're a liar. If they yell one time, okay, they flew off the handle. They're a little overwhelmed. They yell a second time. Oh man, that's not a very attractive way to act. That's not a very good way to act. That's not something that somebody wants to be around. They do it a third time. It's like, okay, this person is that's just who they are, I guess. I mean, I hate to make a judgment like that, but that just seems to be them, right? And the same thing can be said for Bitcoin. Bitcoin hits a top, and then it comes over and it tests the top once, and it makes a lower high. Okay, well, all right, well, that's not great side, but we'll see what happens. Maybe and then we hit another top, and it's a lower top, and then we hit another top, and it's a lower top, and then we hit another top, and it's a lower top, and another top, and it's a lower top. And do you see how we start to not really trust that Bitcoin's going to be able to break above the level that we want it to? And so what we've got to ask ourselves is, how do we know whether the market's repented or not? Right? Let's say somebody is a liar. They're capable of repenting. They're capable of turning from that and being a truther, a truth teller. They're capable of that. But you've got to earn some trust, because I'm going to be honest, if you act a certain way for a long enough time, you are no longer afraid. You're a coward. You're no longer someone who lied once. You're a liar. So we need to see a new trend. We need to see a new verifiable, evidence-based pattern over time that builds trust. And so I am very skeptical of this rally, in the same way that if somebody, I don't know, like walked up and smacked me 10 times, if they would come up to me and say, oh, I'm done with that, I'm not going to do that anymore, and they've done that every time that they did it last, I'm going to say, I don't believe you. Prove it. I love you. I think you can repent of this, but let's see some actual fruit. Let's see some truth. So the reason that I'm skeptical of this rally is because, yes, Bitcoin's got a lot going for it right now. Yes, Bitcoin has stock market rallying. Yes, Dixie's trading sideways. Yes, UK Bill. Yes, MACD. Yes, RSI. Yes, Nvidia. Yes, a lot of other things. But we have the same story back here, and the same story back here, and the same story back here. You know that saying, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me? Or in the words of President George Bush, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, well, you ain't gonna fool me again. Who remembers that? Everybody trips over their words, believe me. I'm in commentary, I do it every day. No disrespect, but I don't want to get fooled again. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna wait and see if Bitcoin proves me wrong. If Bitcoin can prove to me that it's actually going into an uptrend. There's 2 ways it can do that. Number one, actually 3 ways that it can do that. And this is what I'm looking for. Now that Bitcoin, basically this little rally is like Bitcoin saying, I've changed, I'm new, I'm different now. I don't believe you. I've changed, I'm serious. Okay, do these things. Let's see it. Let's give you some time. I'm willing to trust you, but I don't, to be quite honest. So let's see what happens. Here are some things that Bitcoin could do to earn our trust back that it is actually going into an uptrend, because right now I just don't buy it. One, Bitcoin could have a buy signal from LUX ALGO. Guys, LUX ALGO is an incredible technical indicator. Absolutely love it. I am personal friends with the founder of LUX ALGO, but before I was friends with Sean, the founder of LUX ALGO, I had been using LUX ALGO for a while. We started using it, and I got to know him probably about 6 to 12 months after I started using it. I love this indicator. And when it gives a buy signal, it normally is right. It's normally almost like saying, I've repented of lying. I've changed. And I say, I don't buy it. But then they walk in with their pastor, and the guy says, no, actually, seriously, they've been, or they say, I'm not a drunk anymore. I don't drink anymore. And you're like, okay, yeah, you've been a drunk for the last 5 years. Really, I hope that's true, but I don't buy it. And then they walk in with a friend, and the friend says, no, listen, I've been with him every day. We've been roommates. He hasn't had a single drink, dropped a drink in 6 months. He's changed. That's kind of what LUX ALGO does, is it comes in and it says, no, listen, seriously, there's a buy signal here. Look, I'm like, really? Something's changed, seriously. Okay, and I'm like, all right, okay. We got some corroborating data here to say, all right, I buy it now, Bitcoin. I trust it. So if the buy signal comes in, that's one friend coming along saying, no, for real, he's changed, that I would trust. Bitcoin breaking above this downtrending level of resistance, that's one thing I would trust. If somebody is a drunk, let's say they're a drunk, If they tell me, oh, I don't drink anymore, and you open their cabinet and they got liquor on liquor. Man, they got every single type of whiskey under the sun in their cabinet. I'm not saying alcohol is a sin. I like a drink of whiskey every once in a while, but let's say that's the position they're in, and they haven't thrown it away. I don't buy it. Now, let's say they went and chucked it all in the trash. Okay, that's like Bitcoin breaking above this downtrending level of resistance. I'm like, okay, you took a step. Okay, that gives me some more trust. Lux Algo is that friend that comes in and says, no, seriously, I've been living with him. He changed. This downtrends. Oh, yeah, I chucked all the liquor out. We break above this level of resistance at $65,000. Guys, I've been doing analysis for 7 years. Yeah, what's with the weird analogies? It gets old after a while saying, oh, well, we don't trust things. We will trust Bitcoin. We'll trust Bitcoin if it breaks this level. Guys, I got to keep you entertained here. Come on. We're on the internet. We're on the internet. You got the attention span of a goldfish, most of you. All right. So the third thing that would keep me interested, or that would help me build trust that Bitcoin's actually going into an uptrend, would be breaking this level. You know why? Because the reason I don't trust Bitcoin in the first place is because it keeps setting lower highs. This is the most recent high. If we break above that high, that's where we start to say, okay, we're probably in an uptrend. So where does that put us? Because as always, part of the ethos of this channel is I don't have an interest in just reading the market for no reason. What's the point? What's the point of reading the market? Seriously, answer this question. Jeb, you're a technical analyst. You're asking that question? Of course I am. I'm not willing to do anything in my life unless it has meaning. I will walk away from a career because I don't think it has meaning. I'm not going to do that because I do believe it has meaning. But let's take a second and ask the philosophical question that matters. What is the point of technical analysis? Why does it matter? Seriously, answer me in chat. Why does TA matter? I want to hear your opinion on why it matters. I'm going to give it 10 seconds. I'm going to tell you why it matters, why I think it matters, and how we're going to tie this analysis, or this one long analogy, maybe you could say, into something actually useful. Another 5 seconds, I'm going to tell you why it matters. Here's the deal. Here's why this matters. Because if we understand where the market's going, then we can do something about it. Remember, we can make money in this market. Think about like your drunk friend. Think about if you could invest in him becoming sober. At what point would you invest in the idea that he is actually going to become sober? At what point would you invest in the idea like, oh no, I'd be willing to put money. I'd be willing to bet money that he's clean. At what point would you be willing to do that? It's the same thing here. At what point would you be willing to put money on the idea that Bitcoin is done being bearish? That's when you place your trade. And so we've got to understand the track of repentance, the track of reversal, if you will, the track of the changed mind, the track of the switch from the following of the bears to the following of the bulls. And then at some point between here and here is when, if you're a trader, you would enter into a long trade and trade the swing back up probably to all-time high, because that's about the price target we'd be looking at. Or that's how you play as a trader. But here's how you would play it as an investor. If we start to get a hint that this correction is over, then we need to go ahead and deploy some cash for the long term, because if we're actually building some confidence that we're not going to go lower, then we want to go ahead and get in for the long term. So if we are actually going into an uptrend, we want to make a move, whether we are an investor or whether we are a trader. If you're a trader, you're looking for some kind of confirmation. The lower you enter, the higher risk. The higher you enter, the lower the risk. But the lower you enter, the higher the reward. But the higher you enter, the lower the reward and the lower the risk. Yes? If you're an investor, you want to buy as early as possible with that cash account. This is what happened in 2021 when the Bitcoin market jumped off a cliff because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Guys, Bitcoin dropped 50% in a day. In a day. Your friend just went and bought out the bar. I mean, he and the bartender are best friends now because he just made him a millionaire, right? That's what happened. Bitcoin jumped off the proverbial cliff. Do you know when I bought Bitcoin? Not here, because I didn't buy it. I was like, 50% a day, I think I'm good. I'll pass. I feel like an idiot and pass for not doing that, but I didn't do it. You know when I bought Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I bought a lot of it. I was very happy with that purchase. I bought a lot of Bitcoin, bought a lot of Ethereum. Guys, I was DCAing 2 Ethereum, which was, it wasn't much back then. I was DCAing 2 Ethereum like every week. I was buying dozens of Ethereum during this period right here. this is the Bitcoin chart, but the same thing happened on Ethereum. I didn't buy here. I bought here. I didn't buy after we broke the local high because I was investing. I could go into an investment a lot earlier than I go into a trade. I would not have probably traded this market until like up here somewhere. Now you could have made a trade in here, and that's true, a shorter term trade. But if you're making a longer term trade, you probably would have waited until you broke the local high. Right? Probably until we back tested right here. This would have been a great time to enter a trade right here because we back tested. Money printing was going brr, and we had a lot of money coming into the space. A lot of adoption. Elon Musk, Michael Saylor, a bunch of executives from Fortune 500. Anyway, I started making investments right here. Not here, not waiting until up here, but right here because Bitcoin has started to build a verifiable trend. And that's where we are right now. So what's my point? Here's the takeaway. You've waited 35 minutes through a bunch of rambling and some random redneck from Tennessee who lives in Florida now, who's been doing this for his entire adult life, explain to you in the weirdest way possible why the market acts the way it does. What's the point that you've waited so long for? Here's the point. If you're an investor, now's a good time to pull the trigger and deploy some cash. I am not a financial advisor. Although I've decided against becoming a financial advisor. I was going to, but come to find out, I can't actually do commentary on markets in public. It's the only reason I'm not a financial advisor, or else I would have gone and gotten the certification. I looked into that a couple years ago, decided against it because it would actually make my job impossible. But I'm not a certified financial advisor, and I'm not interested in giving you financial advice anyway, because I want you to make decisions for yourself, because I want you to have sovereignty, so it lines up with my philosophy anyway. But I would put a recommendation out there and an option out here that right now would be a good time to deploy some cash if you're investing, because over the last 24 hours, the likelihood of us going lower did drop somewhat. It did, because we did have several new things come in, like the MACD bullish cross, like the UK Parliament bill, and like a few other things that are coming, right? We've had the CPI come in below expectation at 2.5%. That's great. It basically guarantees we're going to see a Fed rate cut. So things are changing. If you're a trader, I would wait a little longer, though. So what I'm saying here, this is an entry signal for the investor to deploy cash into a position you're going to hold for 5 years. Did I say a position you're going to hold for 2 years? No. Did I say a position you're going to hold for 3 years? No. I said a position you're going to hold for 5 years or more, which is what you should be starting with before you ever try to make short-term or even bull market or even cycle trades. You should be making 5-10-year investments. That's what's built the vast majority of my wealth on the investment side of things. Now, on the other side of things, if you're a trader, I would wait until we broke above this level, this line right here. I don't think you're going to get much out of trading all the way up to this downtrend, but if we break above this downtrend, the distance between that downtrend and this level of resistance could be a good trade. And so the projection could look something like this, just like this. A trade somewhere in here may be wise. It's hard to figure out where your entry should be and whether we're even going to hit this downtrend right now. So I don't know that I would enter a long trade yet, but up here, definitely could be the time. Today is the first day of this uptrend that I will say I am not 100% about as confident as I can be that we're going to drop down to 54,000, but that over the last 24 hours, a multitude of things have changed. And so now I have flipped with new data. I've flipped because of new data to being skeptical of this rally, but tentatively giving you an entry signal for investment cash positions. Should you deploy the entire position? No. You probably shouldn't deploy more than 10% of the cash position. But this may be the last time we see these levels for a while. We do not know that for sure, but it might be. And so those are the takeaways from this analysis today. Hopefully it has been entertaining, but more importantly, informative and helpful to your wealth building journey. I'm going to read some chat now. I really appreciate all of you for tuning in. Mystical316 said, love how Jeb explains stuff. Guys, you've got to keep it fresh. If you look on the channel, let's show you something here. I've been doing this for a long time. It's so funny. I've been doing this for so long now that I look back on videos that I'm like, man, that's a good video. And it was 5 years ago, right? This channel is about to hit 3,000 videos. 3,000 videos. That's insane. We got to keep it fresh, right? We've got to keep it fresh. And there's a lot of new things coming as we continue to move here through postpartum. I'm still Obviously, you know, we've still got a lot going on with the newborn and with health, but as we continue to move there, there's a lot of cool things that are going to be coming. Like I said, we're working on FinSov Academy. That's going to be coming out before you know it. A lot of new channel stuff, a lot of new kinds of content, a lot of collaborations, all your favorite technical analysts, every single one of them, I will be on their channel. I'm just excited to make my rounds, go see everybody, and very excited to see you guys succeeding. Jeb, why did you leave Tennessee? I left Tennessee because I was 3 years old. My dad said I had to. I've not lived in Tennessee since I was 5. We kind of moved back and forth when I was 4 and 5. I've lived in Florida since 2008. My dad was in construction, and we moved. He was a single dad. We moved to Florida because my dad was looking for work in construction. Little did he know that Florida would end up being the worst state in the union for construction, because housing, construction, and remodeling and all of that had completely dried up. So we were, how would you say, what's the word? Broke for a while there, or well, about a decade there. Lived in Florida for 16 years now. Wow, goodness. Crypto Surge said, smash the likes and subscribe. Absolutely, thank you so much. Give Sarah and the kids loving. Always do it. I've got a great bunch here. Pew Pew Poom 2 said, Jeb, my man, if you don't believe me about Nvidia thing, just lay the charts over and the NASDAQ. We pumped during Nvidia announcement yesterday, dumped this AM after jobless claims, and rebound when Nvidia did, aka the QQQ. Let's take a look at it. Nvidia is obviously a big driver in the market right now, mainly because, in large part because of artificial intelligence and blockchain technology. And so if you look to do some statistical analysis to see how much they track with each other, but just you know, looking at it from the eye, that's only like there's not. Let's do it like this. This is a good way that I have found to analyze this. Pretty much all of this time, right about here, they've been convergent. In this block of time right here, they have been divergent, right? Just to make this a little bit easier on the eyes to see. In this block of time, they've been divergent with each other. In this block of time, they've been convergent, meaning they're tracking together. Hopefully this is making it a little bit easier to see. At this point in time, they were divergent. I'll just go back a little bit farther. And at this point in time, they were convergent. So that is what Pew Pew Poom 2 is talking about. They generally track together. And so he's right. You know, it's kind of what we're talking about with things like the stock market, like how we're seeing an inverse correlation with Dixie, how we see a correlation with the United States stock market. And so this is why we look at other data. And in fact, this honestly could track all the way back to like here. They're basically tracking with each other to a varying degree all the way back there. So they do track very close together, which is exactly what Pew Pew Poom 2 is saying. And again, that makes sense because NVIDIA's success or failure rides very heavily on the success of blockchain technology. Make no mistake on the NVIDIA chart. Let's just take a look at NVIDIA. And I love NVIDIA. My first computer that I ever built had a GTX 1070 in it. I love NVIDIA. I love their chips. I love their products. Top of the line, state of the art, whatever you want to say. Over the last 5 years or so, since NVIDIA's really been in chip manufacturing for ASIC miners and for blockchain development, and with the explosion of artificial intelligence over the last couple of years, has driven the most recent rally. It's up 3,000% since 2019. Back then, before it got into AI and into blockchain, it was doing well. But if you'll notice here, it really started to take off here about 2016 when they started getting used for blockchain. NVIDIA was a big company before then, but it was mostly just used for like gaming chips and whatnot. And gaming's a big industry, but it's nowhere near as big as the financial industry. And so blockchain and artificial intelligence have definitely been some of the biggest drivers of NVIDIA, which also means that NVIDIA, kind of like MicroStrategy, MSTR, is heavily driven by the success or failure of the Bitcoin market. And so when Bitcoin is rallying, NVIDIA is rallying. When it's not, it's not. And so I honestly am wondering if the correlation is not that Bitcoin tracks with NVIDIA, but actually that NVIDIA is tracking with Bitcoin, because NVIDIA rides so heavily on the back of Bitcoin mining. I would love to hear your thoughts on that in the comment section, but that could be a lot of what's going on here. Now, at the same time, here's the other thing. NVIDIA is doing so well because they're making money hand over fist. I mean, NVIDIA has made I forgot what the number was, but like 10,000 decamillionaires. I mean, the number of people that Nvidia have turned into decamillionaires is larger than any other company in almost in all of human history. The Nvidia founder, what's his name? Jensen has made more people millionaires than probably just about any other founder in history. And so very, very excited for Nvidia, very, very excited for Jensen, very excited for the company. I think they're a force for good, broadly speaking, on the economy, and they are definitely a very large company. If we look at companies' market cap, this is a like coin market cap, but for companies. You can see they are now the third most valuable company on the planet. They are quickly approaching Apple and Microsoft, which of course have been at the top of the pack for a long time. And honestly, Nvidia very well may become the world's largest company before you know it. It could happen very, very soon. Nvidia is not going to slow down anytime soon. As I said, they are the global leader in chip manufacturing for ASIC miners and also for the kind of computational hardware that's necessary for artificial intelligence. Everybody, if you haven't noticed over the last year, has an artificial intelligence. On Twitter, you got Grok, right? Grok. What a name. It fits the kind of like rusted. It fits kind of the feel of Twitter, right? And by the way, if you're not following me on Twitter, you absolutely should. I'm active over here again. I'm running a mile a day, and I'm letting you guys know about it on Twitter. So make sure that you follow us over on Twitter if you have not already at _coffee and crypto _ We're going to be getting that updated. Don't you worry. But make sure that you come and follow us over there. Really appreciate seeing all of you guys in that direction. Now, I also want to let you know about a company that I am very excited about and that is growing dramatically, and that is none other than NordVPN. NordVPN is an excellent company, and here's why you should use them and have them on basically at all times. NordVPN is going to keep your connection safe, and they've got a really cool feature in the back end of NordVPN where you are able to actually activate something called a kill switch, which is where if NordVPN goes offline, it will shut down your internet connection so that you never are unprotected, especially important while you're browsing public Wi-Fi where people can hack you and steal from you. I know people, somebody that I follow on Twitter just yesterday, someone I know personally, I won't say who, they just got hacked for over $20,000. It's out there, it's happening. You don't want that to happen. Make sure if you have not already to sign up for NordVPN with the link in the description box down below. You can get 2 years for under $100. Absolutely an investment. Think about it like an investment that will lower your risk of getting hacked and having your money stolen. Risk to reward ratio, absolutely incredible use of your money. I would not say that if I didn't mean it. I am never, ever, ever instructed on what to say from sponsors, ever. And I truly believe that it's a product that you should check out. So make sure you use them. Links in the description box down below if you're not already. Let's hear from anybody using NordVPN in chat. We'll read a little bit more chat here before we wrap it out. I've got a very interesting interview going on later on today. You guys will be seeing that over the next couple of weeks. Really excited about it. I'm not going to say who yet, but you would know him. All right, let's read a little bit more chat. Blockchain was the how we originally designed it, just now getting back to the where we started again. Yep. Vitruvian Music said, thanks, man. Absolutely. Drian121 said, Jeb been made redundant. Drian, I thought you were a fan. What's with the hate? Or did I miss something? Crypto Surge said, I've noticed a lot of people from Tennessee move to Florida. Shadrach Frost said, I've been using NordVPN for 3+ years now. Have it on PC and on my cell phone. How's that for an endorsement? Shadrach Frost himself has been a longtime user of NordVPN. Make sure to check it out with the link in the description box down below. Understanding history allows us to better predict where things are headed, Verhuftiflufen said. Absolutely. Mike Lowry said, here is Jeb's Twitter to make it easy for you guys. Thank you, Mike Lowry. Yes, that is the link to our X account. So make sure to go and sign up, or not sign up, but go and follow me on X so you can have the latest updates. Shows confluence and trend. That's right. Yes, TA is a great history lesson, but also can give predictive insights on how to best move. Absolutely. It's very helpful for that. Let's see, 270 watching and not even 76 likes. Come on. Yeah, hit the like button. We've got a lot of people watching that have not dropped their like. I appreciate you guys for doing that. All right, I do also want to let you guys know about Uphold. If you have not already signed up for Uphold, you absolutely should. They are a cryptocurrency exchange that make things as easy as possible. Here is a great place for you to start if you're new into the cryptocurrency space, or even if you're experienced and you want a breadth of cryptocurrencies to choose from. They have one of the widest ranges of cryptocurrencies, and if you're looking for a coin, it's probably on Uphold. Caspa, for example, you can barely find it anywhere, but where you can find it is on Uphold. Sign up for Uphold with the link in the description box down below. And if you have not already, make sure to deposit some money over there because they have a yield-bearing cash account where you can hold cash to buy for the dip. And when you do that, you will be generating 5%. Now, here's the thing. You can get a high-yield savings account that generates 5%, but normally you need to have like between $5,000 and $20,000 deposited to actually get that 5% rate, or else you're going to get like 2%. With Uphold, I believe it's $1,000 minimum. So that's a very small minimum. It's much easier for you guys to achieve, and you're going to get 5% on your cash, which is great news because it's going to allow you to store your cash somewhere that is easy to deploy into the market with one of the best user interfaces in the entire game, while also generating some returns on that cash as it's sitting there. So make sure to sign up for Uphold with the link in the description box down below, and stay tuned because we've got some great content coming out about them. Also with their product called Vault, which is the single best place to custody your cryptocurrency. There'll be a video on that coming out very, very soon. John Doe said ARPANET was built in was how we built it. By 80, we built cryptocurrencies. Today, decentralized networks are used for various purposes, including file sharing, cryptocurrency transactions, and distributed apps. Oh, ARPANET. Did you know the first 3 letters that were sent on ARPANET were LOL? John Doe, did you know that? ARPANET was designed to be a near instantaneous communication protocol between universities, and it was originally designed so that universities could communicate with each other. And the first 3 characters that were ever sent across the ARPANET in 84, whenever it was, 82, I forget the year. You know, back when Al Gore invented the internet, obviously. Back then, the first 3 characters that were ever sent were LOL. But Chab, that didn't exist yet because the internet didn't exist yet. What do you mean? Well, the researchers that were working on ARPANET sent the word login. They typed L, and the letter went through. And they typed O, and the letter went through. And then the system crashed. Had to reboot the whole thing. And then they went back to what they were doing before. Typing in login, L-O-G-I-N. So the first 3 letters that were ever sent across the internet were LOL. Doesn't that make you just laugh out loud? Fun facts of the day. Hope you have enjoyed today's stream. Let's come back to that first question. What do you do on the hard days? What do you do when you get it wrong? What do you do when you wake up and you're just not feeling it? I made a short today. You ought to watch it. I just went and ran a mile. I've been running a mile every day for 18 days now. I was going to run a mile every day for 10 days. Today's day 18 of 10 days, and I got up and I did not feel like it. Man, I went to sleep. I was going to sleep around midnight. I kid you not, as soon as I closed my eyes, baby starts screaming. That's how it goes, you know, when you have a newborn. 5 weeks old, 5 weeks, 4 days, whatever, something like that. Not even 6 weeks yet. The newborn starts crying. Okay, all right. Good. We go and grab him, bring him to wifey so he can eat. He eats for 20 minutes. Bring him back to where he sleeps. And he starts screaming again. Oh, okay. All right. At this point, it's like, oh my gosh, I need to sleep, buddy. Kid stays up for 2 hours straight. He's a great sleeper, by the way. Like, this is out of the normal for him. He sleeps very well. But he stayed up and just ate every, 10 minutes for 2 hours straight. So it's 2 a.m. Like, oh. But what I did not realize at that moment was that I had a honey bun. It's the first time I've eaten hardly anything sugary since I started this whole running thing. I did not realize how much it would affect me. I woke up, I could barely move. The sugar screws up your sleep. It really does. And so I woke up, I could barely move. I had to fight to get out of bed. And I'm like, listen, today's one of those days where what I teach you guys is going to have to be true. If we're motivated by motivation, then we won't actually do what we need to do on the days that we're not motivated. But if we're motivated by discipline, then the motivation will come because we were disciplined in what we were supposed to do. Sure, I can find a more concise way of saying that, but you get the point. So I got up, helped get my son to school, went on the run, just like waddling down the road, like, oh my gosh, I can barely move. You know, I'm not that slow, but waddling down the road, I can barely move. Got halfway through, and I said, you know what? Honey bun or not, I came out here to fight. And so I ran as hard as I could home. And I came home feeling like a champion, man. I went out there feeling like absolute, I don't know, like I ought to be in one of the trash cans on the side of the road because I felt so bad, right? Came back feeling on top of the world. You know why? Not because I was motivated, because God knows my heart. I was not motivated. This was the first day since I started this journey that I did not want to be there when I started. I did not want to go on that run this morning. I did not want to do it. I didn't. It was a hard day. I felt awful. It was a hard morning. I felt terrible. But I did it because I was disciplined. And by the time I got back, it was one of the best runs I've ever done because you win on the hard days. I got back 15 minutes before I went on this stream. I started the stream with the energy from that run. I'm still got it. I feel awesome. I feel so motivated. I feel so ready to go conquer the day. Not because I was motivated, because I wasn't, but because I was disciplined, and because I did with discipline the thing that I said I was going to do. I then got the motivation as the reward, not as the input. So I ask you the same question I asked you this at the beginning of the stream. What do you do on the hard days? Do you choose to say, I don't have any motivation? Or do you choose to say, no, I made a commitment and I'm going to do it whether I want to or not, because I know the motivation is the byproduct, not the input. If you can get that right, you can change your life. And I hope that you will. God knows I'm not very good at it. I'm just learning, right? I'm not sitting here being some expert on that. I may be an expert in technical analysis or on the charts. I am not an expert on that, but I am learning, and I'm learning fast because I said I was going to do something, and it means something when we say that. We need to be able to be reliable. And so that's what I'm growing in right now, and I hope that you guys can learn something from my absolute lack of skill in that area and the fact that I'm hopefully growing in that area. And so what do we do on the hard days? Do we stay disciplined or do we quit? If you enjoyed today's stream, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll be seeing more of you. Before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.